welcome. This is our second episode. My name is Alan. I'll be your host today. And this show features a full-body, open, deep trance channel named April Crawford and our name, Veronica, for a causal plane entity that speaks and writes via April Crawford. And some of Veronica's books, 6 of them, have hit #1 on Amazon. So I'm not going to go into my long-winded explanation of what a full-body, open, deep trance channel is, because I did that last time. So if you'd like more information, check out the last radio broadcast, which you can do in the archives, or just read any of April's books, because somebody wrote excellent introductions and appendices to most of them that give a lot of extra information. So for today, I'm going to ask April to expand a little bit on where she goes, some of where she goes that we can even relate to when she's out. And then I'm going to ask her some questions that came in from other people, from readers and listeners to this show about what it's like for April to be channeling. After that, we'll bring in Veronica, which should take very little time. And the subjects I have in mind are reincarnation, also pets, and then typically I always ask Veronica to come up with, a message for the world, since she's got this opportunity. So I'll set the scene just a little bit here, and that is we're in a small office, handing a phone back and forth. There's a little cocktail table in front of us with some flowers and some drinks, and we have 2 dogs in the office, which bark at the drop of a hat, but for some reason they never bark during readings and consultations. And I've arranged more than 10,000 of them, and they've never barked, and it just amazes me. I thought we'd have to put them out in the car or something, but they're terrific. So right now I'm going to ask I'm going to ask April to expand a little bit on where she can go, given her particular interest in genealogy, when she's out. And sometimes she's out for hours. So hold on, and I'll ask April to expand on that, particularly when she goes back to see her old relatives.
Hi, everyone. It's April, and Alan has asked me to expand a little bit more upon what I'm doing while Veronica's here. And I think I mentioned last week that I go off into a genealogy kind of exploration. And I think I need to go in a little more detail of that. It's not like I'm looking at a book or I'm, just seeing still shots. What I'm able to do is to find there's like a little sliver of a timeline, and I'm able to move into it back into like the 1800s. And I get to firsthand see family members that I've looked at on family history charts and stuff, and actually get to know them a little bit and how they participated in their lives. Now, I don't have interaction with them because I'm mainly observing what they're doing, but I have heard the timbre of their voices. I have seen them go about their day on the farm, and it's all very fascinating. I feel like I'm sitting on like a tree stump somewhere just watching them do their day. And I always thought it was like a real simple thing. They were just trying to survive, and I had a great-great-great-grandmother that never went to town. She never went into a town her whole life. And so I'm thinking, okay, this is a very simple type of environment. But when I got to observe it, it was very intricate, full of drama, and a lot of interesting things that one would never think about. Like there was a peddler that would come by once a month to sell things. So it was like having the store come to you. I observed my great-great-grandmother who had a really bad toothache, and several times that I observed it, she was bemoaning, "Oh, my mouth hurts, my mouth hurts." And a fellow came by who was a peddler, but he was also like a dentist, and he pulled her tooth out in the front yard after giving her a shot of whiskey. And I can remember sitting there watching that going, "Oh, my God, oh, my God, is she really going to do that?" And she did. So it's getting to pick up those tidbits of everyday life that wouldn't be written down in anybody's diary, wouldn't be written down, in any sort of history book anywhere, because it's simple farm people. And I shouldn't even say the word simple, because, believe me, it wasn't simple. But it was really interesting, and still is, for me to be able to look at a slice of life that way, up close, personal, and I am there. It's not like I'm there. I am there. And it's helped me understand my family dynamic and how hard they all work to survive. So it gives me an appreciation of how easy we all really have it now. So that's what I do. I go out and do things like that. I've also had people ask me, well, what happens if you're not feeling good? What if you have a channeling session and you feel really lousy? Because sometimes people wake up and they don't feel good. Well, there was a time frame when we were doing a lot of group sessions, and I can remember waking up one day where I was just not well. It was almost like a flu kind of moment, and I'm like, wait, am I going to be able to do this? Am I going to be able to get in the car, drive to this event, and be able to do this? So I kind of talked to Veronica and said, how am I going to do this? And she said, don't worry. When we come through you, we will take a look at what's ailing you. She said, it looks like, a influenza kind of thing. We'll calm it down, and we'll make it so that you feel fine enough to do it, that you're not going to get dizzy or feel like throwing up or anything like that. You're going to be fine. So I get myself dressed with great effort, get myself pulled together with great effort, get into the car with Alan, great effort to drive to this event, thinking the whole way is, how am I going to do this? Because usually group channeling sessions could last a great deal of time. So we get to the event and sit down, and there's maybe 10 people there, and I'm looking around going, oh my God, I feel so terrible. I feel dizzy. I feel feverish. I just don't feel good. And Veronica, I could feel Veronica's hand on the side of my shoulder, sort of patting my shoulder, saying, it's okay, you're going to be fine. So I shut my eyes and I let go, and this wave of peace came over me. All of the things in my body just relaxed, and I realized that Veronica was in, and she was letting me see that she was fixing everything that was a problem in me, and that I could go off and do my thing. Let me do my thing here with these people. So I did. I left. I came back after the session was over. There was no nausea. There was no dizziness. There was no feverish moment. I felt fantastic. And trust me, I came in feeling awful. And after that, I would always call upon her to, if I had an event or if I had a phone consultation, I said, look, I don't feel so great. Can somebody do something? And every single time she has. And I've always come back feeling 1,000 times better than I did when I went in. So there's a lot of benefit, I think, to the channeling moment and having other energy come in and help you out. So that's something that really helps me along my energy. And channeling for me is something that has become a great gift and something I'll probably never stop doing.
Okay, I am now going to do a disclaimer that I am reading questions from people for April and Veronica, and I do not want to be accused of leading the witness because I know the answers mostly already because I've been doing this for a long time. I've had, a couple hundred sessions myself. However, these are questions that have come in from other people, and we'll start with one that kind of dovetails into what April was just talking about. This is from somebody who, in an email to Inner Whispers. I have wondered as a channel, is it physically draining to you? Or could you channel a non-physical energy for hours? Do you have limits? Are you uncomfortable being gone after, shall we say, 4 hours? Can you hear Alan's voice?
Well, anytime I channel, I always come back feeling much better than I did. Even if I'm feeling good, I always come back invigorated with a lot more energy than I did when I started. Even if I'm feeling fantastic, I still come back with more energy. The process of channeling for hours. There have been times where I've gone about 4 hours. And the only thing that really usually ends up bringing me back is my bladder. That's about the usual thing that brings me back. But I could probably go on for a very long time. It doesn't make me feel scared. It doesn't make me feel like, oh, God, I can't get back. I'm off doing other things, and then my shoulder is tapped and said, okay, we're finished. You can come back now. And I come back. I don't hear usually any of the conversation that goes on at sessions, phone sessions or in-person sessions. I don't hear what's going on. Now, there have been times in the early days where I was still, contemplating if I was going to do this or not, where I was a little disturbed at being left out of it. But I was allowed to hear certain things, and then I realized it was people's personal stuff or things that I really wasn't all that interested in, and I just decided to let go of it. If Alan really wanted me to come back for some reason, Veronica taps me on the shoulder and says, hey, Alan wants you, and I come back. I don't have control of my facilities. I don't hear, I don't see, I don't taste, I don't smell. Veronica's using that part of me while I'm channeling, so I don't hear. And it's okay, because I trust Veronica. We have a 30-year relationship, and there's never anything that has gone awry or uncomfortable or upsetting in any way. In fact, every single session for 30 years has been comforting, and I've come back feeling better than I did before I left.
Okay, next one from the same person. Are you mentally aware when a non-physical desires to come through? What I mean is, do you get a sense of urgency from the other side while, for example, you may be simply shopping?
I am pretty sensitive about energetic energies that want to come in and talk, but they're all very respectful. They know that I'm April, and they know I'm living a life. They don't butt in, so to speak. They rather tap me on the shoulder and say, hey, when you've got a minute, we have something to say to maybe Alan or to yourself or to somebody. And they're polite about it. It's not so urgent. We have something to say. When you have a moment, let's do it. I've been out shopping where Veronica has come to me. She was doing some demonstrations upon physical reality for a group. And she did come to me and says, I need certain items. And you are out shopping. Here are the items that I need for this demonstration about reality for this group that we're going to be doing next Sunday. And, of course, I chuckled to myself and said, now you want me to shop for you. Okay, what do you need? So I went and got the items thinking she wanted me to get, like, colored stones in certain kinds of containers. I said, okay. I'm completely confused. I'm like, well, what is all this about? But I did it because she asked me to. And find out it was a very interesting physics lesson for a lot of individuals that were at this particular session, and she needed the physical items to demonstrate what she was trying to convey. So that's happened a few times, but other than that, there's no urgency, there's no pushing, there's no dragging me out of my body. It's all very much a cooperative, and there's a lot of respect. They respect the fact that I'm April, and April's got her day she's got going on. So that's how it is. It's not something where I feel pushed or put upon.
Okay, we might as well finish off this string of questions. And by the way, this is from Sharon. And generally people only give their first names, which is fine, or they make up a name. I don't care. And I don't think it matters to Veronica either. Is there ever an entity that you feel you do not wish to channel, or is it always luck of the draw if it isn't Veronica?
There has never been an energy that I didn't welcome with open arms. Everyone that has come through me has been interesting, loving, provocative in a lot of ways because they all have their own personalities. But I never feel put upon, and I've never had in 30 years a bad experience. I've heard other people say they have, but not me. I feel very protected. I have a high-quality group of energies around me, and I never, ever feel upset or feel damaged in any way. As I said before, I'm always invigorated when I come back.
Okay, and this concludes the April Crawford portion of the broadcast. I will now treat you to an hour and a half of my personal philosophy. No, I'm only kidding. As soon as Veronica gets here, which I expect will be quickly, I'm going to ask her about reincarnation, and there's a lot of levels to reincarnation. We'll see when she gets here. She's here. Okay, so Veronica, I guess the first part of this, and this is going to be, a couple of questions. Can you say unequivocally, with absolute certainty, that reincarnation is a fact and that it's a choice available to everybody on this planet or on any planet? Is it an absolute certainty? And if so, how do you know?
It is a fact. Reincarnation is a fact. Painted in the cycle of it ourselves. It is something that is offered. Not every energy wishes to come back. Let's say if you're reincarnating, you may not want to come back to the earth plane to reincarnate. There's no superior being saying to you, you must do this or you must do that. It is of your design and of your thought process. Reincarnation offers the opportunity to get it right. It's not just a one-shot deal to learn a lesson, evolve, expand, and grow, and evolve to another plane of existence with one life. It doesn't make sense. You need the opportunity to make the mistakes. You need the opportunity to rectify those mistakes. And you need the opportunity to expand your energy incrementally instead of trying to do it all in one big swoop. So we'd say that it is a choice. And there are energies that say, I don't want to do that. You don't have to. There are many other opportunities of evolution available if you so choose to. And again, it's your choice. When you cross over from a life, you're met with your guides. You review the life. You take a look at it. What went good? What didn't go good? What mistakes did you make? And what things did you really make a good decision on? Then you decide, with the help of your guides, what it is you want to do next. Now, you don't blindly just fall into another life. There is a pre-planned idea or a blueprint that you put together when you move into the next experience. And yes, you do often travel in cadres, which are groups of people or groups of energy that travel from life to life to life together. Sometimes it's 6, sometimes it's 5, sometimes it's 2, sometimes it's 10. It all depends on who makes the choice to be with you in that particular life. The reincarnational cycle offers the opportunity to actually learn a lesson, and if it takes you a while to get the lesson, it offers you the time to do that. Physical life, we realize, isn't for everyone. And there are some who come and try it and go, oh, God, can't do this again. But there are those who do come and say, kind of like it. I've learned a lot, I've gleaned a lot, and I'm going to continue the process because this is a good path for me. But again, it's personal choice. You make the decisions of yay or nay. Now, you can be incarnating over and over and then decide to take a sabbatical for a while. Let's say you get caught up in a loop of, linear participation that isn't going well and you need time to go contemplate it. It's all personal design. There are no set rules. There are no boundaries that you can't cross. And energies from the other side, those who have incarnated themselves and those who haven't, are there for assistance and guidance and to help you on your journey. So reincarnation is real, believe it or not, but it's there. Not everyone adheres to it, but it's something that does exist.
Okay, Veronica, since you addressed like 10 of my questions that I didn't ask yet, I'm going to move on to a question we received from a man named Kurt Arnold in New Jersey. And he said, in his message, which was posted when he downloaded the last show, which everybody, of course, should do every week, he said, very insightful, Veronica. What happens when our beloved pets die? Does it matter how they die? Do they have a soul, as you discussed, as with humans?
Yes. All animals have a soul. Now, we realize that there is debate upon that subject, but we will say very firmly they have souls. They are oftentimes way more evolved than most of their human counterparts. We think that when a pet dies, they usually want to get back to their owner, especially if they're close to them, and they also participate in the reincarnational process. So let's say you have a pet dog that you adore. It's almost like a soulmate. And let's say their kidneys, in a linear way, start to fail on them. Now you're devastated. You don't know what to do about it. And the dog slowly is deteriorating before your eyes, breaking your heart. And the dog does cross. Now, we realize the devastation of that, and the losses, you can't even speak about it sometimes, the loss is so great. But you need to remember that they do reincarnate. And most dogs, cats, and other pets are way more evolved than humans. And they move easily into the afterlife. Now, they might at first enjoy the fact that whatever was ailing them is not ailing them anymore, and may stay in that state for a little bit. But normally, pets do come back to you. They seek opportunity to have another experience with you, especially if they're close to you. We have many who have said to us, well, gee, Veronica, how would I really know if that's my pet Barney? And we say, all of you know your pets. All of you have looked deeply into their eyes many times. You feel their energy. You feel their mannerisms. They have certain quirks about them. Animals are not all homogeneous. They all have their distinct personalities, just like humans do. You will know. And we have talked to many, and it's same with the April Crawford. He had a cat that returned several times. And he would say things like, oh, well, what's he going to do, walk up the driveway? And the last time, that's exactly what the cat did, walked up the driveway. So we would say reincarnation for pets is a huge thing, and it is just as valid as the human experience. And all you have to do is look into the wise eyes of a dog or a cat or even any other pet, bunny, any pet you can think of. They have eyes that are often much wiser than humans. So we'd say how they die, sometimes they come in as a lesson. Maybe they get hit by a car due to your negligence, or maybe they, become ill because maybe you're not paying that enough attention, or they just simply wear out. All pets, especially the ones that are deeply special, will come back to you. So we realize that it's painful to lose a pet. We realize that it's, part of life, but look at it as that I will see them again. And oftentimes it will be in the exact life that they just left. Not have to wait till everybody's, recentered themselves in another life in a human kind of way. In a pet, they can come back in 6 months to a year if they're crafty enough to get their energy in the right place to do that. So we'd say it doesn't matter how a pet dies. If they are connected to you soulfully and you have the belief system that they can return, they will, because they need you to have that focus as well as them trying to get back. And a lot of them do. We've heard from many. And we think the Crawfords have had personal experience with all this. So it's indeed a true thing.
Okay, Veronica, here's another question that a lot of people speculate on and ask about. But, unless they have real excellent experience, they just don't know for sure. But can you say with absolute certainty that everybody has spirit guides and that those spirit guides care for them unconditionally and would just love to improve the contact and maybe a little bit, minor stuff, basic stuff. How can you connect with your guides if that's something you want to do?
Everyone is accompanied by energy from the other side. Whether you believe it or not, it's true. The guides would like very much to have interaction with you. So for you to believe in the fact that they do exist is better for them. If you're completely adamant that they aren't in existence and it's all nonsense, they don't leave you, but they are a bit saddened by the fact that you don't connect with them. Each of you have a guide that starts from the moment you take your first breath in the linear reality and is with you unconditionally and uninterrupted for the whole life until you take your very last breath. Then they meet you to say, we will accompany you, to your overview. Oh, and by the way, there's some other energies here that you probably know, so maybe you'd like to have a bit of reunion. Guides are very special energies. They commit, they stay with, they don't leave. Now, some come in and out for specific reasons. Maybe you're going through a certain thing, or maybe you're moving into maturity, you need the extra help. Or maybe you're going through a bad breakup and there just need to be a special energy will come in. Now, those come in and out and work with the one that is the constant. And sometimes you end up with more than one energy. Sometimes the energies that come in for temporary end up staying. So guides exist. They're not angels, they're not angelics. They are guides. They are energies who may have gone through the same kind of reincarnational process you have. And sometimes there's even ones who have never, ever reincarnated. They never even had the physical experience. But they have enough wisdom and knowledge to be able to help you with certain items that through in your life. The beautiful thing about a spirit guide is that they don't leave for any reason. They don't get mad at you. They don't get upset with you. They sometimes wonder where your head's at, but they always stick with you. And they are always on your side. And if you make a mistake, they're the first ones to tell you you made it, but they're also the first ones to say, well, what are we going to do from here? How are we going to fix this? And they stay with you through the fixing process. So we would say that the spirit guide is actually one of the most beautiful things of existence. Those who decide not to incarnate and those who decide to stick with someone who is incarnated through all the ups and downs and dramas and really, really commit. We think it is probably one of the most beautiful commitments in existence. So all of you have one. And if you're not communing or if you're not, being around them, you need to reconsider what you're doing and open yourself up to their existence and let them in. We don't think you'll regret it.
Okay, and let's see if Veronica has one more thing. She gives me dirty looks. No, I'm only kidding. And that is, at the end of these shows, I'd like to establish two things. One is I invite everybody to send in questions to aprilmediumship@aol.com and just put radio in it if you have questions. The other way to do it is just put your questions right in the comment section of the archives for the various radio shows, and they'll get preference. So, Veronica, as the questions we'll wait and see if we get, and they'll be at the end of the show. But I'd also like to establish a thing where if you want to give a message to the general population around the world, what would that be? Hold on.
Well, it is really important in the chaos, current reality that you're all in to not get caught up in all of the mishmash and the frenetic energy. And remember who you are in the midst of all that. Don't be influenced by any outside energy. Know within your heart who you are as a soul, what your belief system is, and how you plan to live your life. It's easy to get caught up in the tidal wave of stuff that happens in physical reality every single day. You are all powerful entities having a physical experience. Own it. Be it. Be who you are. Now, if you've forgotten who you are, it's incredibly important to sit each day and shut out all the noise and the frantic, screaming and yelling of the linear reality and get in touch again with where you are in your heart chakra. Who is that in there? And we think some of you might be a little lax in knowing, what your energy is all about. You are valuable. You are an omnipotent energy having a physical experience. Be that. And don't let anyone tell you can't or to tell you it's inappropriate to do so, because they are wrong. Be who you are at all times. And if it's in opposition of everybody around you, so be it. State who you are and then back up from it and say, all right, I'm not going to take any comments that are negative here. I wish to be in a reality that is conducive to my soul and brings forth an opportunity for me to have the most bountiful experience in this life. Not a less one, but a more one. You all live in a very volatile time frame. Don't slide into that. Be who you are. Put both feet on the ground and say, this is who I am, this is what I'm doing. Whatever that may be. Now, two of you are doing the exact same thing, which is an interesting thing. There's billions of you incarnate upon the planet at the moment, and all of you are doing very different things. You might line up and say, oh, well, I'm a part of this group, or oh, I'm part of that group. But at the end of the day, what you're really part of is your soul. And that's where you need to keep your focus. All this linear stuff will come and go. It's come and gone many times. But who you are as soul is constant. Own it, be it, and appreciate it.
Thank you, Veronica. And this concludes the interesting part of the show. But before we go, I just want to mention that if you would like more information, you can either go to April's website, which is aprilcrawford.com, or you just go to amazon.com and search April Crawford, and you'll see 10 books, 6 of which were written by Veronica, all of which hit number 1 for Veronica, and a couple that others wrote only hit number 2. Hit number 2. So I guess it's over and out. Talk to you next time. Thanks.